Check, check. All right. Wow, that was amazing. That was so cool. Thanks, Ben. Was that good or what? Right? I mean, like, yeah, my name is BC. I think it says, yeah, storyteller and creating culture. And storytelling, I mean, this has been a great day for me. I feel so, like, energized and blessed and pumped, and just to see miracles. Like, we're all sitting in chairs. We're miracles, right? Like, if you look at our life and what brought us to where we are now, we just, like, sacrificed our life to love crazy high school kids. It's a miracle, and it's a beautiful thing, and this is, like, exciting to me. This is more exciting than the Broncos games or anything else that's going on TV or what we might, we're trying to get on our phones sometimes and we get kind of distracted, and this is the most exciting thing you'll do all weekend and maybe all week, I don't know. But this is a beautiful story that's being told, and we're part of it, and God is not part of our story, and we're part of His. We're part of the greatest story ever told in human history, and we get an opportunity to see, to embrace that and kind of run with it and be proud and excited to tell this story, right? Because sometimes we get lost in different things. And so a little bit of my history is I'm from Golden, and I live in Denver now, and so I'm local. And for about 4.5 years, I traveled around the world. I took young adults, representing about 50 to 60 different countries around the world. I lived in Asia for a couple of years, Europe, Latin America, I've been through Africa, and had a really cool experience just embracing culture and humans and traditions and religions. And I got to live with monks and monasteries and radical Islams and just like crazy stuff where I was like, man, these humans are so unique and amazing. And what does that look like for my faith? And what does that look like to get called back home and really impact something greater in my local community? And so after seeing the world on so many different spectrums, from wealthy countries to the worst, horrible economic countries in really bad situations, I took a step back and I asked myself, I was like, what's the biggest need in the entire world? And because that's what I want to figure that out and try to get that. I know it's Jesus, and yes, we say that. We are really true about that. But what is the world, what's the biggest need that's going to really revolutionize this world? And I was thinking, food, is it water? The millions who die with water and hunger, and 1 billion starving, and I really mathematically did this in my head, and I was like, the biggest need in the entire world, in my mind, in my opinion, is young people of America. And young people of America waking up to something greater and bigger than themselves. Because the way Americans in our country, the Western world, but yes, Americans, the way we shop, the way we consume, the way we live, affects every country on the planet. And we're pretty much the only country that can say that the way we live our life affects every country on the planet. And it's really crazy the ripple effect that we have. So God called me back. I had this amazing dream job, traveling the world. I loved it. I got into some really cool projects, and it was a great experience because it was like taking international students around the world. It wasn't a YWAM program. It wasn't like this faith-based program, but Jesus got to pour into that because we searched for darkness. I was just constantly searching for darkness. And so I got called back, and I'm a young life leader. Any young life leaders in here? Woo, some? Cool, yeah. Young Life's fun. We get crazy, and we love kids. On the east side of Denver, so inner city kids. One of the biggest struggling schools in the state. Manual High School is like my main school, and I've just been born in. I live on the east side, and those are like my heart and my soul. And then I run an organization called National Leadership Academy. We're a summer leadership program that's held at DU with a couple hundred high school kids that come there for a week, and we have speakers and talkers come talk about leadership and change, kind of like TED Talks. We were talking how we have all these amazing speakers in the world, and why doesn't the church maybe have that sometimes? And so I'm constantly trying to figure out, what is culture doing right and wrong, and what is the church doing right and wrong, and how can we blend those together and create this culture and not rebel? I think sometimes we get comfortable in our bubble and we're like, the world, or culture, it's bad, and I'm always constantly thinking, what is humans thirsty and hungry for? And where's the church kind of maybe lacking in that, and how to create that, and how to really build that, pave that road to create something meaning and get high school kids like this Jesus first, theology second mentality we've been talking about. It's about listening, And so this is something I've been I'm still constant, I'm no master about it. I'm a filmmaker, so I also travel around the world and I tell stories of good things happening around the world. I just got back from Uganda last week, so I'm a little sick too. I had some parasites, and then before that I took a group of high school kids to Peru for 2 weeks. So it's been kind of crazy, but it's a beautiful thing because this story that God is telling through the Bible and our lives is all part of it, and we should be proud and excited to really be able to share it. And I think sometimes, maybe not too many of us watch like CNN or BBC or Fox News, and one of our biggest reasons I feel like is it's a lot of bad news, it's a lot of negativity. So I stay away from the news. But a lot of us, we probably get on Facebook or Instagram or social media, and then you hear a lot of people saying, I'm going to go a weekend without Facebook or a week without Facebook. It's all bad, negative news. It's not life-giving. It just sucks my life away because either it's sucking time away or it's just a lot of materialistic service-level culture. But the thing is, we can't control CNN. We can't control BBC. We're so far away from that, right, in some sense. But we have the ability, which I would say a huge amount, an extreme amount of most of our young kids probably get their media and a lot of information from Facebook, from social media. And we have the ability to actually be a voice in that media spectrum. And that's a beautiful thing about storytelling is instead of running away from it, because yeah, it is negative, how can we use it to our advantage and be excited to tell these stories of transformation and miracles and kids accepting Jesus and kids, even their birthdays, just trying to integrate our life with that aspect. And I know I'm all about intimate connections and being really intimate with our kids and with people, but it's an ability because we do use social media. We use it for either sharing when we're on the beach in vacation or at a Broncos game. We feel really proud, right? And we feel, I don't know if we feel cool, we just feel like, hey, I'm going to share where I'm at or what I'm doing. But sometimes we might be scared that we don't share the intimate, amazing things God's doing. Have anybody heard of, there's this cool kind of movement or thing called Humans of New York? You guys ever heard of it? So it's this New York photographer. He just starts going around the city of New York taking pictures of people and then asking them 1 or 2 questions and just kind of hearing their story. It's such a simple idea. And he now has over 10 million Facebook followers. He's now on a world tour with the United Nations currently, and it's blowing up. It's huge. People are so thirsty and hungry for depth and real, just intimate people, humans. That's a crazy concept. It's a picture of one person and their little story, their little blurb, or whatever it might be. And we're all hungry and thirsty for it, on a crazy level. And it shows. And so that's a culture aspect. It's not faith-based. It's something culture is just killing it in. And how do we bring that into the church? How do we bring Does it not work? Yeah. All right. Yeah. So how do we bring that into what Jesus is doing in God's story, and not ever getting discouraged of this is the Bible and it's the Word of God, and the story is continuing, and not in a Mormon way where we're going to write our own new book, but in a way of this is it, man. We are part of the greatest story in the world, and you guys are all miracles, and we can tell this and be excited about it and creating culture. And so one of my biggest hearts, one of the biggest things on my heart is getting kids involved in volunteer work and meaningful movements around the world. And so me and a friend started an organization called Colorado Young Leaders. It's pretty new and young. If you want to write that down, it's really cool. It's called Colorado Young Leaders. And we just take high school kids around the entire state and we volunteer. Just really simply, we build a community of volunteers and try to teach people that leadership is really about service. So we teach kids with disabilities how to snowboard and ski. We teach, we do tons of stuff with that. Homeless outreach and African Community Center, which is all the refugees that come to Colorado. And so it's a really cool way to just give. When you seek darkness, you find Jesus a lot easier. I think. I just believe that. When you're seeking darkness, and my kids, my inner city kids, they come from dark. Their home and their house is tough. They still are in high school and sports, and girls is a big deal to them. But then we go work at the Joshua Station, or we go work at Sock's Place with high school homeless kids. And we hear some of their stories of being sex trafficked at 12, a young girl from Denver that was sold from her dad when she was 12 years old, and hear some of these stories. And and it just like, it ruptures their heart a little bit, and really starts to remember like the big picture, because some of us have been there. Like, I was a college athlete, we played the sports, we had jobs, we went to college, we made the money, and we always come to like realize none of it, it's like nothing, right? It's like, it just doesn't matter. Like, we're here for like the two reasons: to get to know our Father on an intimate level and just tell others about Him, and just multiply the kingdom. And how can we do that? And so I'm always brainstorming in different ways how to create this culture and getting kids involved. I show really cool documentary films and TED Talks. There's a film called Blood Brother. I don't know if you've ever heard of Blood Brother. It's an incredible documentary that was made last year. And I'm just going to tell you, just go see that film. It's called Blood Brother. It really shows an example of what it looks like to live like Jesus, like to the fullest. Like this, like it's, Jesus came to set an example how humans should live, and He put the bar like pretty high, the highest He can go. But He said He can do all things and more. He said we can do all things He can do and more. And so He puts the bar here, and we're trying to figure out how to get like this Jesus love like. And the movie Blood Brother, it just won the 2 biggest awards at Sundance Film Festival, which is really cool. Which just screams and yells that people are so. They're so hungry and thirsty for like depth and meaning and intimate relationships. And then a couple of my buddies started the nonprofit called Invisible Children, and they made a video called Coney 2012. I know we all have our different opinions on whatever they might be doing, but they made a video in 2012 about a warlord in Central Africa. But it's the most viral video of all time. It got 150 million views in 5 days. And it was 30 minutes long, and it was about injustice and like brokenness in the world. And to really think that like it's just so much screaming and yelling of like people just want this bigger cause and to be part of this story and part of this movement. And I just want to encourage you, I guess, to walk away with some things of just like, integrating your kids part of your family and part of your life with social media. Like, I know it's like just kind of a crazy, maybe surface level idea, or if you already do it, that's awesome. But it's built, for me, I guess one really cool story that's happened recently is we were saving money for Young Life Camp. Me and all my dudes went through Cartel, and we did gardening and yard work, and I posted a picture of us, and I was like, hey, if you need yard work done or gardening, we're going to come do it if you want to donate to camp. And I had tons of friends donate to camp that aren't even believers. They're not even part of the kingdom yet, and they're donating and they're giving money to camp, so they're donating to the kingdom, and they're not even part of it yet, which was so just beautiful and amazing to see. And my students wrote letters to them how Jesus just ruptured their world, and they found Jesus at camp and stuff. And now they're part of the conversation. And now when I meet with them, they're like, hey, how's Devontae? How's Baby Swain? How's Slim? And I'm like, they're doing good, man. Like they're struggling at home a lot, but this is really transforming in their life. And so it starts a conversation with those people, and then it just, I think, is really, really unique. So I think that's one thing. And then, I think a lot of us want to get our kids involved with volunteering and service work, and I really just want to encourage you to do that and encourage you to tap into what that looks like. And then next summer, I know there's some really cool mission trips things, and I completely believe that. And mission trips has its 1 week or 2 week programs, and there's a lot of different hype on where you're going and what you're doing, and if you're really making an impact sometimes, because usually a plane ticket can hire 40 people to build the house that you're going to try to build. But mission trips are okay, and sometimes they are this selfish need of I want to go see the world, or I want to go help the less needy, and whatever it might be. Encourage you to try to save up for that and give your kids vision, because what high school kids need right now, 80% of kids, I think more than that, are going to graduating high school and going to college without a passion or what they want to do in their life or a major. That's mind-blowing, right? 80%, they're paying tens of thousands of dollars to do that, to go and just college is, when you're a freshman, it's your freedom, and there's just nothing but opposite sex and drugs and alcohol, right? And so it's very dangerous, and if you don't have vision, if your high school kids don't have vision, it's really hard for them to be excited. And so next summer I have an opportunity to take some of my inner city kids to Uganda, and that's one of my biggest dreams and visions for them, and I'm trying to integrate that into their hearts and their minds of guys, we gotta save a little bit, we gotta work for it. But now they're not buying the cool shoes or the hat, and they're I can't go on, do whatever, because they have this vision of what they want to do and where they want to get to, and it's really cool and exciting. Some of these kids have never even been in the mountains of Colorado, and I'm like, we're gonna skip that, we're just gonna go straight to over the ocean. And so give your kids a vision. Give your kids vision to want to change the world, help the world, and show these cool. I mean, there's different TED Talks and documentaries out there. Have that conversation. I think that's about it. Yeah, I love you guys so much. You guys are awesome. I'm really excited. If you haven't shared this day with your social media, definitely do it, because I think this is just really exciting. Let people know there's a movement happening, and there's a really exciting story, and that at the end of your life, your story is going to become a book. Just have it in your mentality. Your life is a book, it's a story, and it's meaningful, and it's exciting, and we are like free, and we're saved, and there's so much to rejoice in life every day. And I know we all have struggles, and I know it's hard, but just let that pour out into your kids, and let them know that that's really exciting to follow Jesus. So I love you all. Thank you all so much.